Disclaimer, this is my opinion, and also this video was unscripted, so I could have possibly contradicted myself. Hello Star Wars fans, what's up? It's me, Harry from HK Studios. The Skywalker saga is dead. It has been decapitated by Disney. And now I'm here to rank all bajillion of the Skywalker saga films. And yeah, what else do I have to say? I'm just going to rank these movies from S to D. I don't know, that's just the format that it came in. I also just want to say that I grew up with 4 of these films. The original trilogy and The Phantom Menace. I had these all on DVD. Sadly for The Phantom Menace, that hasn't affected my bias towards how bad the movie is. Alright, so, I'm just going to rank them in chronological order according to canon, like the dates that these movies came out. Not in real life, but the Star Wars. Alright, so, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. This movie is bad, so I'm just gonna put a D. It's pretty bad, honestly. Redeeming qualities at the end, and there's nothing that could really save this film. Like the lightsaber battle at the end doesn't save this movie. There's terrible acting, terrible dialogue. Like everything's just not that good about this movie. It's boring. It's more boring than Attack of the Clones, honestly. Like there's a lot of Senate stuff that goes on. That's just boring. Alright, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. I've changed my mind about this movie. I thought this movie was worse than The Phantom Menace because of the stupid love stuff. Like the love stuff's in this movie and it's really bad. Like the terrible dialogue and all that stuff. But it's not as boring as The Phantom Menace because I'm more bored in The Phantom Menace than I am in this movie. Because in this movie, I'm laughing all the way through at the prequel memes that are filled to the brim of this movie. The terrible dialogue. The plot is like kind of a little bit more interesting than The Phantom Menace. Like Jango Fett and Obi-Wan. Yeah, that plot's like, I kind of pay attention to that because Jango Fett's alright. It's still a really bad movie. So I'm just going to put it in D, in front of The Phantom Menace. I've changed my mind about that. So, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Now, this is the movie that some people say is the best Star Wars movie ever made. I don't agree with that. However, it is much better than the other prequel movies. I'm just going to put it in A for now. It probably won't be the top in A, so just in case you don't know, I'm putting the better movies on the left-hand side of the column. So, Episode 2 is better than Episode 1, as you can see there. So, Episode 3, yeah, some of the bad dialogue's still there. However, like it's really just a cool film. It's interesting. It looks good. The bad CGI isn't always there, but it's still pretty recognizable. Padme and Anakin stuff is still a little bit there. It's a little bit less cringe than Episode 2. Yeah, the Obi-Wan's cool. There's a lot of cool battles in this movie. A lot of lightsaber fights, like probably the most out of any film. Yeah, so... Jeez. Yeah, so Episode 3, that's going in A. It probably won't be like the top of A. So Solo, A Star Wars Story. So this is chronological. So Solo comes after Revenge of the Sith. Solo. This film has gotten a very bad rap, and it is not as bad as everyone says it is. For some of you who haven't seen it, a lot of people haven't seen it. I never saw this movie in cinemas either because the marketing was terrible, and this film wasn't released in December, so who's going to see it? It's a Star Wars movie, who's going to see it? And honestly, no one really asked for this movie, but it's not amazing, but it's pretty good. Like, it's better than some movies, so, I'm going to put it in B, because, yeah, that's alright. So, Solo is in B because there's a lot of bad stuff about this movie, like the cinematography. The cinematography is really bad in the first few scenes of this movie. You can't see anything on Corellia. You can't see anything. Everything's color coded blue, and what else in the Mud Planet as well? When you hand meet Chewbacca, you can't see much. So, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, loved by many, hated by me. I'm putting this as C because and the characters in Solo as well. Like the characters, you care about the characters. They're not amazing characters, but you kind of care about them. And so, Rogue One is the polar opposite of Solo, as it has terrible characters. You don't care about any of them. There's no stakes in this movie. You know what's going to happen. There's fan service littered everywhere in this movie. However, it is probably the best looking Star Wars movie ever, because the direction and cinematography by Gareth Edwards and the cinematographer, whoever that was, is really good in this movie. Like, it looks really good. However, that cannot save how boring the first couple of acts are, the first two acts. This movie is it's just long, and it's not long, but the ending is everyone thinks this movie's amazing because of the ending. Yeah, it has a good ending. It has a good battle at the end. But the first two acts, that they use that as an excuse that to get rid of the first two acts, and the first two acts are bad. And yeah, it kind of ends on a high note with the big battle and all of the Darth Vader. It's just fan service, and there's fan service everywhere in this movie. It's everywhere. Oh geez. So I'm putting that in C. So Star Wars, the original Star Wars. What else can I say that hasn't been said about this movie? It is A New Hope. It's good. It's good story, good characters. It's kind of a little bit long. That's just because I've watched it. This is my DVD. And also my amazing Phantom Menace DVD as well. And with Jake Lloyd on it. There we go. The Phantom Menace. A New Hope, that's what we're talking about. It's kind of I never watch this movie that much anymore because I kind of find it a little bit too long. It goes on for a while at the start. However, I used to watch this. That's only because I've watched I've watched it a lot. So, it's a classic movie. Made this franchise amazing. George Lucas did well. Yep. All right, let's move on to the best movie in this whole franchise, Empire Strikes Back. And people everyone says Empire's good. Ugh. This movie is probably one of the best movies ever made because the characters are better than in any other Star Wars movie. They're so good. The acting's good. This is everything about this movie is great. Honestly, I can't. That's my DVD. What else can I say? Darth Vader's better than any other movie. Luke's better than any other movie. Han Solo, Leia, Lando, Cloud City, Walkers. Oh jeez, Yoda. I already said Yoda. I know. Empire Strikes Back, my favourite movie. One of my favourite movies of all time. Probably in my top 10. Probably in lots of people's top 10. And people aren't lying when they say this is a good movie. I can't fault it. So everyone's already talked about this movie. Let's go to Return of the Jedi. Oh jeez, this is the one pretty bad movie. It's still good. I watched it I watched it more than the other movies. And the thing is, I watched Phantom Menace and Return of the Jedi a lot more than A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back when I was young. And that's because I was a child. Alright, so Return of the Jedi, it is... there's a lot of problems with it. I'm putting it in B. I'm giving it a low B because this is basically my childhood, this movie. However, it has a lot of problems. Harrison Ford doesn't want to be there. Carrie Fisher doesn't want to be there. All the characters act different like than they usually do. There's a lot of stupid stuff. Ewoks. Luke's plan in the opening act is like makes no sense whatsoever. It makes no sense. With Jabba. Boba Fett is killed pretty poorly. There's Ewoks everywhere. Oh jeez. There's a lot of stuff bad about this movie. However, there are better movies in this franchise, honestly, and there are worse. So, Return of the Jedi, kind of a little bit of a letdown compared to the other movies. And I think this is the downfall of Star Wars, Return of the Jedi. Sith, I think, are better, but yeah. The Force Awakens, The Force Awakens, episode 7, that's where we're up to. I'm putting that in a... I'm giving it a low A, so below Revenge of the Sith. This is a good movie, you care about the characters are good, the acting's good. Like, I love Han Solo in this movie, Kylo Ren's great. It's just it's amazing. It's one of those good openers to a trilogy, and it really sets in stone what this trilogy was supposed to be about. And honestly, if like the second movie was better, if The Rise of Sky, was it The Last Jedi? If The Last Jedi was better, it would be good. But yeah, this movie. Obviously, it copies off A New Hope. That's so obvious that they're doing that. Everyone knows that they're doing that. They're not trying to hide it from you. Like, yeah. So people who hate on this movie, like, pretend they're smart because they think this movie's like just copying off it. Yeah, it's a soft reboot of the franchise. So, yeah. Last Jedi. Oh well. Anyway, I don't think. Back to Force Awakens. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's terrible. It is a good movie though, and it's my second movie in Star Wars movie in cinemas, because I actually saw The Phantom Menace 3D when George Lucas re-released that for extra for money. He re-released Phantom Menace in 3D, and I watched that in cinemas. So sadly, that is my first Star Wars movie that I've seen in cinemas. So. Force Awakens is there? Oh jeez, The Rise of Skywalker. The Last Jedi. I get these two movies titles mixed up so much because kind of forgettable titles. I'm putting this right here, right in the middle. Whoops, where'd that go? There's a 2 there. Wait, no, there we go. This movie, I hate every aspect of this movie. I just can't. There's so much bad about it. So many bad things in this movie. They butchered Luke. The misuse of comedy is so terrible. That alone ruins this movie. And the plot makes no sense. Like Admiral Holder not telling anyone his plan because she hates Poe because he's a man. I don't know. Just stupid things like that. And they just did all this bad stuff. And that ultimately ruined the new trilogy. Like, Rise of Skywalker was a consequence of Last Jedi. Because, they're trying to correct all the stuff that Rian Johnson screwed up. So, yeah. What hasn't been said on The Rise of Skywalker? The Last Jedi. See, I get it mixed up. The Last Jedi, probably one of the worst Star Wars movies. I think Episode 2 is better than that. Because at least I'm not. I think Episode 2 is better than that. The new movie, like, I didn't hate this movie because look, I got a poster. Yeah. Where'd I put this movie? We put it in C. Whoops. C. Above Rogue One. Because this movie, I think, is kind of in between a high C and a low B. It's not as bad as everyone says it is, and it's not as good as some people say. Some people say that this is the best film ever made. Some people say that this is the worst film ever made. It's in the middle. There's a lot of... I enjoyed this movie a lot, actually. Like, I enjoyed it. And that's why I'm not putting it at the bottom. There's a lot of problems with this movie. Like, firstly, this whole movie is a mess. Everything about this movie is a mess. However, I just enjoyed it. And it's the last Star Wars movie. I'm allowed to enjoy it. I just enjoyed it. So, I'd probably give it like a... I don't know. Like a 7 or 6 out of 10. Yeah. Better than Rogue One or, like... Kylo Ren in this movie. Oh, spoilers, alright. Spoilers. I think all of you know. Palpatine, like, does nothing. He's in the movie, and it's so bad that Disney didn't have a plan for this new trilogy. So it's kind of ruined. It's all ruined because they didn't have a plan, and they brought Palpatine back. Like, I have nothing wrong with bringing Palpatine back, but the fact that they brought him back in this last movie and didn't hint at him whatsoever, like, didn't hint at him, like, their plan was to go with Snoke, and then Rian Johnson killed him off for no reason. And the plan was for Rian Johnson was setting up Kylo to be the big bad in the new movie, but yeah, they brought back Palpatine. Yeah, it wasn't established at all. So ultimately, this is my Star Wars tier list. So Empire, great film in S. Then A New Hope, great film, starts off the saga. It's good. Not as good as the sequel. Episode 3, good movie, best prequel. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with episode 3, however, yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. That's the only reason why. My enjoyment, that's why I ranked it that high. Force Awakens, a few problems, I enjoyed it as well. Solo, Solo is a good movie. Return of the Jedi after Solo, yeah. There's a lot of problems with Return of the Jedi, as I said. And then Rise of Skywalker, let's probably see. Then Rogue One, not as good as everyone says. Episode 2, yeah, it's episode 2. The Last Jedi, episode 8, terrible. And Phantom Menace, just ultimately a boring movie. It does have its cool bits in it. I mean, the one thing I can give the Phantom Menace over Last Jedi is that at least it has one lightsaber battle in it. I mean, there's 2 lightsaber battles in Phantom Menace, and Last Jedi doesn't have a single one. And the one that it technically does have is a hologram, so Force hologram. That Disney keeps inventing new Force powers because of the plot. So ultimately, that is my list. Like if you enjoy, if you don't agree with me, just comment your thoughts, comment your list down below. Because none of us are wrong, none of us are right. This is just our opinion. Please subscribe and comment your thoughts and your rankings down below. Thank you.